Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 21 of Agent 2D Demo Days. We missed week 20 because quite a few of us were out of town. I went to visit Rick in Florida and get some work done. A couple other people were out for various other reasons. We've got two others out right now, Jeff and Rick in San Francisco for this week, and then we've also still got Bobby and Robin out. So today is going to be a little bit heavy on the agent side with all of our folks here. And so let's go ahead and kick it off with Pedro.
Hey, yeah, let me share my screen really quick. There. So I worked, a couple of weeks ago, I worked on the SMS integration. I haven't really done a demo on it. So what this is basically you integrate with Twilio. I think I've talked about this before. And then with Agentuity, we basically do all of the heavy lifting. So I built a quick demo using SMS and also vector search, which is pretty cool. Vector has been already in the platform for a little while, and I just wanted to see the power of it. So what I did, I have a little customer service type of bot using SMS. So I'm using like the FAQs from Orlando. This is a live tracking service for paragliding and hang gliding. And so we're just gonna test it out, right? So I basically created a vector database with all of the stuff that we see on the screen, and I will show you later how I did it. And then I'll show you the code as well. So let's just do a quick demo. So the way Volando works is via an iOS or an Android app, right? So I'm just gonna ask, what's the typical battery consumption, right? So you basically ask a question. Now it takes a few seconds. It's not like spontaneous. So now the agent is going to get the SMS from Twilio. It's going to do some things. It's going to look at the vector database, and eventually it's going to come back and say, our app is like a hungry bird. I also made it, funny. 3% on Android, 9% on iPhone, and then if you take a look at here, I have it somewhere over here, right here. So what this does, and I will show you right now. Let's take a quick look at the code. It's actually very, very simple. Honestly, this is it. So we basically get the SMS object. If it exists, it's there. I'm gonna do a quick vector search on the question that I have on the query. This database, I'll show you what it looks like. It's over here. I created this Volando info database, and what I did, instead of just giving it the whole document, I split the document into those smaller questions, smaller paragraphs that you saw here, right? So, one of them is, can I share my tracking? So I just have, just a little thing, So this is just split into very small chunks. So when it does the vector search, it's going to pick the best, the best answers or the best paragraphs. So then what I do, I have a system prompt, you're a customer support agent, and this is the question that I have, and then I get the results from the vector over here. I'm gonna split it into like different paragraphs, and I'm gonna send it here. So this is what the what OpenAI is gonna get: a system prompt and a real prompt, and then it's gonna try to answer the question the best it can, and eventually it's gonna send an SMS reply. So this SMS reply is going to do that. It's gonna reply to the message that you received, to the same phone number that you received. So we just need to pass in the request, the context, and then this is the response from OpenAI. So it's a little mix of both things. And that's it. That's all I have, which I think is pretty cool. This is the power of Agentuity, trying to get all the heavy lifting out so you can focus on the actual code. That's it. Okay. Next one up, it's gonna be Gabe, Discord.
Okay. I have also demo to tell new features going in. I think I demoed this on week 19, I think, right? The basics of the Discord implementation that we had. Now is way more polished, it's ready to be launched. I'm gonna show a little bit more of it. First of all, on the Discord side, on the platform side, right? How does it work? It works as an IO. Our Discord implementation is a way for you to be able to talk with your agent easily through Discord. Either be inviting our bot to your personal Discord or having it on someone's Discord and interacting with it directly. The way it works is you come here, you need your Discord account link with Agentuity, and then you select the Discord IO. It's gonna load your information through your Discord. It's gonna grab all the servers that you're in here, and it's gonna give you an option to select one of the servers to invite our bot over and select our connection. In this case here, I'm adding our private server, which is Agentuity, or public server, I mean, or server for Agentuity. This IO also checks if the bot is not or it is in the server. It will prompt you with a link to invite the bot on the server. As soon as you click that link, it should open on Discord. It's the same way you install all the other bots that you would usually on Discord. But it also checks if the bot is already there, and it's going to give you confirmation on that. As soon as you have the IO set, right, you should be able, on your code, grab data from a Discord message, and inside this Discord message, there's a lot of data that you can access, right? You can access data specifically from Discord, which is like the message ID, the user ID, the channel ID, in case inside your agent itself, you're doing something with Discord's API or anything like that, you can still get this information. We also grab the username, which is the Discord formatted username of the user, in case you wanted the bot to reply specifically to a user in some way. And you can grab the content, which is the message that comes in the reply. How this works specifically is you tag the bot, and then you send it a message. Be like, tell me about our Python integration. Right now I have an agent that is a copy of our Miami demo agent, which just grabs data from our docs and answers questions based on that. The bot will think. It will keep sending this typing message while it's processing stuff, so you don't need to panic if it is, taking a long time. It's doing its thing in the back. And then as soon as it answers, you will have the answer to be a reply to this. So even if it takes time, you will receive a notification back. So in this case here, it answered with a bunch of stuff from our agent. It also tries to format a little bit on the side of the request, but Discord has its own formatting, so be aware of that. But the way to interact the bot with it is like this. You tag it, you send it a message, it will reply to that message. It only works with tagging. If you want to limit it to not be used on any other channels or anything on our Discord itself, you would need to block it from seeing the chat. It will only answer in chats that it can answer. It's not going to try to invade any chats that is not allowed to answer, and it will only message. It will only answer when it's tagged. So that is how our integration works, and that is about it about the Discord integration. Okay. Next is Joel.
Hey guys, yeah, let me share my screen. Yep. So what I was working on was the human in the loop, which is basically like a pattern where you have AI doing some certain things, but you need human intervention. And this helps with some issues where AI can hallucinate, do some other things, but gets your verification, it gets your approval first before doing anything. So here I have a simple agent where you can ask it the weather of a certain location, but I have it set where if you ask it about anything about the weather in San Francisco, it's going to have to get your approval first before it checks that. So here I have my weather tool that I created. It's connected to the Open Weather Map API. I gets that information. And here I have like the agent which has the weather tool, and then I have like the main agent which uses that, which can take that handoff from that agent. And the whole purpose of kind of this project is it's utilizing the OpenAI agents SDK using TypeScript, and we need to work on some tracing and some logging stuff. So this is a perfect example of how to do that. And if you want to use in your own code, you're also able to do that. So let's take a look at dev mode. So this is where I have it running. So if I ask it a question like, what's the weather in Austin? And if I just run it, it's going to give us the weather in Austin, and Matt can confirm this is true or not, but yep. But if I ask it, what's the weather in San Francisco? It's going to need some approval, and it's going to need, human approval. So with that, I can take the ID from here, which is stored in our key value store. So that's how the agent tracks it. And I would paste it in here, and then I'd set in the decision and approve. I have to give the approval of true. And when I run that, let's take a look. It tells me the weather of like what's the current weather and temperature in San Francisco. So that's something that people can use in their code if you need that human approval, because obviously AI is capable of doing a lot, but it's really good to get human intervention in. But yeah, that's my demo.
I can confirm it is hot in Austin, but I think you can just hard code that into the response that if they ask what the weather is in Texas, it just says hot. So
yeah.
Great.
But yeah, passing it off to Nick.
Yeah. Hello. So I'm gonna be talking through two agents that I worked on. The one I showed the beginning parts of last time, and that was the sales engineer agent. So the concept of this agent was that it was going to have you have a conversation, and while doing that, it'll help you fill out a request for geez, I'm blanking. An RFP is what? Someone help me out.
Proposal.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, not a business guy apparently. But the way that this flow works is that the sales engineer is the one that users will interact with, and you'll send it a message and a template. So from last time, I've added support for images and PDFs of RFPs. So you'll pass a template in encoded or plain text, and then it will use this RFP schema agent to generate a JSON object for the fields of the form. And then what it will do is every time you talk to it, it will try to fill out more and more of that schema until it's complete. And then at the end, it will create a markdown document of a filled RFP. So I also made a little CLI app that I'll walk you through. So this is a test run that I did. It was just a silly example of adding a lemonade stand to the office. But basically, you can see in here the logs that you have a back and forth conversation, and you can ask it questions. It can, if you're not sure about what you should put for a field or give it more context, it can answer questions, and then it will continue to ask questions until it fills out all the values here that it needs. So then once it's done, it will give you a markdown document, and that's it. So pretty cool. It was fun to kind of work with the images and get that part to work. So the other agent that I wanted to show is a simpler one. It's using Zep, which is a memory layer. So this one it's really easy to integrate into Agentuity. You just include an API key, and then you can add the messages to Zep's memory for a given user and then a given session. So you can add a user with this demo code. You can add a user and then send messages from the user, and it'll add to Zep's memory. So I'll just go through a little dev mode example. So you can see I've been talking to it a little bit today, just about myself. And so it generates this graph that you can look through. And it's pretty cool because then you can go into different sessions. And so here I ask what you know about me. It knows I'm a student. It knows I'm a runner. And so then you can start a new session and say, let's just say that and I'll say, what happened to my guitar? So it says it has a broken string, which is what I told it earlier in a previous conversation. So it can take the most relevant info and then use it to talk to you. But that's it for me. So I will pass it off to Dylan.
Before we do that, I just want to say that I think that the lemonade stand is a perfect precursor to the Anthropic Vend thing that they released today. I don't know if anyone saw that, so pretty cool. All right, over to Dylan.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks, Nick. So this week I built and kind of deployed a Slack fitness coach, which used Vercel and OpenAI. So basically, it combines a Slackbot with a Whoop API that basically users can track their workouts, monitor recovery, and stay active all from a Slack DM. And so once kind of you install it, it can do a few different things. So one, it can log workouts. So you can type and log workout and say, 30-minute run yesterday. And so it stores your activity in a Postgres database. And then you can ask, what did I do yesterday? So you can get your last 3 workouts that's in the database. And a big part of it is also you can analyze Whoop data. So it can pull, like, for example, I connected it to my own Whoop. So it pulls my real-time Whoop stats, so recovery, sleep, strain, and then gives you advice based on whatever you might have on your stats. And then just a small other thing that I might do is send a reminder with scheduled jobs with motivational DMs or something, like stand up and stretch or do 5 push-ups or something like that to kind of keep you up and moving throughout the day. And this is all will be done through a Slack DM. So here's kind of a walkthrough of how the system works. So we have kind of reminder.ts, which just like I said, sends a random motivational Slack DM when it's triggered at the specific times. And then we have the connection.ts, which is just sets up the connection to the Postgres database. Ops.ts, basically just the database logic to log workouts, and then also just get the most recent workouts. And then schema basically defines the workout table schema using Drizzle's schema builder. And then we have everything kind of related to Slack. So we have handle at mention.ts, which is basically handles the at mentions and channels, replies in the thread using the GPT generated output. And then we have the handle messages.ts, which actually handles the incoming Slack DMs. And so it posts the placeholder and then updates it with the final GPT reply. And then Slack utils, this is kind of basically responsible for just initializing the Slack client and connecting it to it. So making sure I'm kind of mid going through some debugging process, so you can see a couple of the debugging statements in there, but this kind of just initializes it, verifies the request, and then also caches the bot ID here at the bottom. And then, the Whoop utils, this is also kind of related to getting all the information from the Whoop. So you have like get recovery, get sleep, get cycle, and then get a Whoop full data, kind of combines all 3 of those. And then you can see in each one of these things, it's kind of like all the different information you can get and I can return. And then we have generate response, which is just responsible for the main logic, interpreting the kind of user messages and generating the GPT-4 replies. And then index, same as it always does, kind of routes all the incoming Slack events, verifies the signature, triggers whatever handlers are appropriate. And then tools finally are kind of just, we have 2 tools. With the Whoop tool, which is, like I said, kind of just like gets the entire Whoop full data here. And then we have the log workout tool, which obviously is kind of responsible for logging whatever workouts in the database that you tell the bot. And yeah, I'm still working on getting it fully integrated in Slack. I'm just going through some small bugs that I'm working out, but I can show you an example of how it kind of can work in dev mode. Second. Sorry. Perfect. Can you guys see that? Perfect. So yeah, you can see kind of how, if I ask it, so this is just an example, what do you recommend for workout based on my Whoop stats? And then so here it says, well, your Whoop stats look great. Here's a quick breakdown, gives you everything that you need to know, recovery, strain, sleep performance, everything from last night. And then can actually also give you a workout recommendation based on, because you have a high recovery score and a low strain, it's a good day for a moderate workout. So cardio, strength training, or whatever. So it can actually tell you what would be a good recommendation for a workout based on those Whoop stats from yesterday. And then also we could, for example, I could log a workout from yesterday. So log a workout. I can say log a pull day workout from yesterday. 45 minutes of chest and triceps, something like that, right? And then it will receive that, and then basically it will be put into the database that I will that you will set up. But yeah, that's a little bit kind of how my Slackbot works. Yeah, thank you. Matt, you're up next.
Very cool. All right. A couple disparate demos here today for me. One is we got some feedback from the team over at T3, some annoyances they were having with the KV stuff. So we went ahead and fixed some of those. One was longer KV key names and vector and everything else was basically screwing up the UI. So we've gone ahead and fixed that. We also had some issues where the content on the right here was blowing out the container and making it, again, hard to see stuff, especially with JSON responses. So just want to let everyone know that those are fixed now. So if you've seen issues, sorry about that. Should be good. Next demo. I don't know if anyone knows what Clay is. It's a pretty popular way of basically going out and finding a bunch of people that we can basically kind of cold call, cold email people that might be interested in what we're building, and so it helps us put together lists. It's a pretty typical tool for sales teams, and there's a lot that goes into sort of reaching out to people and trying to gauge interest and find design partners and things like that. A lot of complications. Things like getting flagged as spam is obviously a particularly bad problem that you have to try and solve for. And there's a lot of different tools that can do that. But the easiest one is basically just make the emails more valuable to the person you're sending it to, right? So if you just send the same generic message to 1,000 different people in a short period of time, obviously nobody wants that, right? And Google and all the other mail providers know that, so they're going to mark you as spam. So with that in mind, we figured that, well, what better way to make these emails more meaningful and impactful and personalized than just using an AI agent, right? So spent some time with one of our partners over a couple of days earlier this week, and spent maybe 20 minutes putting together an AI agent that can help us with this problem. So I've got pulled up right now my profile. This is I don't want to dox somebody, so we're just going to look at my information. But this would normally be a list of a lot of different, maybe startup co-founders or something like that. And it's got pretty good information in here. We know that the person is Matthew. We know that they work at Agentuity. We know what Agentuity does. We know Matt's job title, where Matt's located, and some other things as well. One that I've found particularly important throughout this process is the person's own description of their current job. That's pretty helpful. So how does this work? Well, basically, what we can do in Clay is you can make these formulaic text fields, and you can apply it to everybody. And normally you sort of have placeholders, and then you'll you'll go and use variables inside of Clay to swap it out, etc. But what we're doing is we're actually just dumping whatever email template we want to send to this person. So we have a bunch of different email campaigns that we would run. We're going to dump that in here for everybody on this list. And it's a pretty simple template. Hi, found out, you're building AI agents. Would love to get you a brief demo if you're open to it, right? What we can then do is we also make another formulaic text field. This one is a prompt that is specific to this email template. Because all the templates will have slight variations, we need the ability to give it template-specific prompts. So in this example, we're saying, hey, the call to action here is to get a demo, but that's great, but we'd rather, build meaningful connections with some of these people, right? So if they're in the South Florida area, which is where Rick's located, or if they're in the Austin area, which is where quite a few of us are located, we'd actually love to meet up in person, have a coffee, chat with you about AI and agents and what you're using them for and how we can build a product that makes that easier for you. So with that in mind, what we can then do is we can call our agent. We can pass all the preceding information, the person's information, the company information, the email template, the email prompt. We can pass it all to our Agentuity agent, which we'll get to in a minute here. You can see it's just a post call to your agent API endpoint. And all we're doing is we're basically taking that information, dumping it into the body of the API request. You'll have to go in and set your headers, obviously for security and content type, things like that. You can also rate limit it as well, so that you're not pinging your AI agent 5,000 times in a single second, which Clay will actually absolutely do. So we get the response back from that, and we dump that response into a new column called email body. And as you can see here, this is the customized email. It basically took the template, looked at the information that was available, changed the template a little bit. And as you can see, it noticed that Matt is in Austin. So, hey, we'd love to get you together with Jeff and have a chat. So that's how it works in Clay. The code for this, pretty simple. Again, we're just passing the person information, the template, and then the prompt. We've got our welcome stuff, which has some demo samples, which we'll show in a minute in dev mode. And then all we're doing is we're giving it a really high level prompt, right? So telling it what the role of the agent is, giving it some barriers. Don't make this a 4,000 word long email, for instance, right? Passing in our different information, spit it back out. Simple. I mean, literally 15 minutes to basically, tweak the prompt on this thing was pretty much all it took. So if we take a look now, we can do another example in dev mode. This is Jane Doe. She works at a company named Cyan. They do project management, team collaboration, etc. She's actually not in Austin. She's in Amarillo. So let's run this real quick. There you go. So nice, quick, simple, easy. As you can see, most of these requests are in the sub 1 second range, and they're costing fractions of a cent. I think it's in like 1,000 of them for something like 20 cents. So it's actually more cost effective than trying to use a bunch of the tools that Clay gives you. You have enrichments in here. You can go through and generate a bunch of this stuff on your own, but it costs tokens. And on top of that, you're sort of locked in at that point, and you can't add additional information, additional functionality to any of this, a lot of this stuff like you would be able to if you actually own the code for the agent. So that was one thing I did this week. The next thing, I'm going to preface this by saying that this is a really, really, really rudimentary proof of concept, not even an MVP yet. But basically, went down to Florida last week and met up with Dylan and Rick, and we hauled ourselves away in an Airbnb for the week, all day, all night, and came up with an idea for what would like the agent native way of interacting with Agentuity be. We're a cloud platform. There's a lot of infrastructure information. A lot of people have a hard time with that, especially if they're not like DevOps people or whatever, right? It's hard to sort of parse a lot of the information overload. And so, yeah, we wanted to rethink everything. So again, MVP, I'm sorry, not MVP, POC. It's just like a skeleton of the web app that we have here. Just imagine that this is like the dashboard content or whatever, right? One thing we've done is in this POC is we've made the navigation floating navigation. You'll see why in a minute. But basically, it's just to conserve real estate. But let me fire up this agent real quick, and I can give you a demo how she actually works. All right. There we go. All right. You'll see here now at the bottom of the screen, we have a toolbar. We're calling this feature for now Fuse. It's our Fuse agent. And basically, this is an infrastructure agent. And this is the way that we think that people will eventually use as their primary way of interacting with anything that's infrastructure related. So, you can do your command I, fire it up, and you'll see here that when you first open up Fuse, it's going to point out to you the things that you need to be thinking about, right? Instead of you having to go into the sessions screen, into the project screen, looking at agents, looking through a bunch of logs, filtering the logs on errors, everything else. What if instead of having to go find that information is presented to you, right? Obviously, that makes a lot more sense. And if there is nothing, fantastic. We'll just say, hey, everything's looking good. Everything's running great. Good job. You don't need to be in here looking at anything, right? But if you do have a problem, we want to surface that to you and pull you into the conversation instead of you having to go find it. From here, you can ask it anything, or you can pick one of the insights. If you click on this insight here, customer support bot has 13 failed runs, then we'll obviously start a conversation about that. But for now, I'm just going to say, show me recent logs for agent 12345. Just going to start up a new thread. There we go. So it's going to start doing tool calls now. For now, these tool calls are just like basically spitting out JSON as we sort of work through a lot of this process and thinking through this POC. But what it would eventually do is it would basically take the UI from the log screen and basically just dump it into the chat, only the stuff that you care about at that point, right? So sessions, agent details, things like that. We'll have small little modules that will just get dumped straight into the chat so you can actually see what's going on. But for now, again, it's just JSON and then sort of summarizing it in Markdown here. Here's the information. If you want to actually view these logs in more detail, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to click on it. And we'll open up the sort of side panel that we have in the application currently where you can actually inspect a log that would sort of fly in here on the right side. So again, keeping a lot of the same UI, just presenting it to you at in different ways at different times with different sort of interactions to get there. So another thing we could do is we started thinking about how's this work with dev mode. I'm sitting here having a conversation about my 15 errors that I got recently in this agent 12345. And great, okay, I now understand what the problem is. I've looked at it. I've had a conversation with Fuse about it. I know it needs to be fixed. So I'm just going to fire up dev mode now. We open it up, and I'm going to start pasting in and trying to, send test commands to it, right? Test requests. And it's going to give me a response. And what we sort of wanted to demo here was we can do a lot of really cool stuff once we enable dev mode in this sort of situation where we've got an agent that is basically sitting in between you and your dev mode and monitoring what's going on. So for instance, in this first example, we send it JSON and the default response from the agent would be like, sorry, I can't help with that. But we've got an agent that sits in between and it knows that the agent is actually looking for request.text, not request.json. So it could even say, hey, you sent the wrong data type. It didn't know how to handle it. Let me fix it for you. And it can actually, do some of the work for you, right? It can reconfigure the request, put it into plain text, fire off the request for you back to your agent, and then you get your response back, right? Obviously, eventually the idea is it's going to be even more of a partner as you're trying to resolve these issues. Maybe it's, suggesting the change that you need to go make in your code, right? Maybe it's saying, hey, you sent plain text, but it's supposed to be JSON or something. Let me go, would you like me to change it to be plain text in your code, and I can change that for you, right? I think Rick did a demo a couple weeks back of sort of the remote developer agent experience and how we could maybe enable that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. A lot of really cool, like I said, interesting opportunities that we can continue to explore. This is really early on. We're just talking to some of our design partners at this time, getting a bunch of feedback. If anyone's interested in seeing a bit more of this or talking to us about this and giving us their thoughts, we'd love to hear from you. Join the Discord. As always, we're there pretty much constantly, and we'd love to hear feedback. So I think that wraps it up for this week. Thank you very much to everyone for watching, and we'll see you for week 22 next Friday. Have a good one.